Hey everybody, Brian here again, and today we're going to talk about a new model for Toyota. Today we're going to talk about the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. And here's a quick peek at the window sticker for you. For my Highlander community, the XLE of course is the most popular Highlander, going around 43 to 45. But for a couple thousand more, you can get yourself extra space. And in today's video, like all of my review videos on Toyotas, we will start with the outside of the vehicle, then we'll talk about the engine and powertrain, get inside to talk about the space, and make comments on the way it drives. Let's begin. My favorite place to start in every review video is the front of the vehicle. So if we step back a couple feet, the first impression I personally get of the new Grand Highlander is it definitely speaks to the RAV4. In fact, I made a nickname for this. I nicknamed the Grand Highlander the Mega RAV. The Grand Highlander definitely has that stubby shark nose that the RAV4 has, and at a distance it's making the same face. But if we get in a little bit closer on the XLE, there's a massive grille which is painted with piano black plastic, a traditional style Toyota emblem, and small sleek headlights that sit pretty high up top. And to be expected of Toyota, standard are LED lights running through a projector, which is going to be great for the nighttime visibility. And it's a simple design on the headlight. We have a simple bright orange side marker / turn signal, a chrome swish on the top, which I guess will probably be an LED bar for the higher trims, and then a chrome line that goes all the way across the front here, right in front of the hood on top of the bumper. And I'm not hating it, really, to be honest. I'm not hating it. I'm one of the people that sits in the middle with chrome. I don't hate it, I don't love it, but I think it actually fits very nicely on the Grand Highlander. Below the headlights, you will not expect to see a fog light, but if we get really close, there is a functional vent over here. Moving back towards the emblem, we do have some fake ventilation. But down below, of course, where all the air is coming through, we have a giant grille giving the car access to lots of air to breathe. The hood does have some chiseling here, some very unique styling. There's like a scallop that goes down and back up, which is nice, but it doesn't shout at you. And nothing crazy going on in the middle, no channels. And then just another scalloped, chiseled line over here, giving it a little bit of oomph without going crazy. And just to get a little bit closer to the paint, this is Storm Cloud, which is a new color for 2024. The camera probably won't do it justice, but this color I would say is a gloomier cousin to the Cavalry Blue, adding a very nice family member to the people who like your Army Green, Quicksand, Cavalry Blue, and Cement. The Storm Cloud will definitely fit in with those colors. Standard on the XLE Grand Highlander are the 10-spoke alloy wheels. They have a little bit of a sparkle to them, and fitted are an all-season 255 65 R18. So it is an 18-inch wheel. Let's get a little bit closer here. It's simple, nothing really to talk about. I would say for that simple classic style that Toyota typically goes for at the XLE level, it fits very nicely. And onto the side profile, of course expected from Toyota, we're seeing the non-painted black that wraps around the whole entire car. And what that does is it serves a little bit of a purpose here. It's going to take the beating a lot better than your painted surfaces would be on like a Tacoma Sport, Tundra Sport, you know, a lot of the Camry bases. On your SUVs, it's always nice to see this because, you know, with the all-wheel drive system, you're probably going to be driving in bad weather and maybe even on some gravel trails. And one of the other body lines that I like is on the side, the body kind of goes in and then cuts back out, which is really hard to show here. But in person, you can really see there's like a channel of dimension here, which really adds a nice touch to the body from the side view. To the back of the Grand Highlander, I'm going to play a little trick with you guys. I'm going to cover up this section of the taillight, and look how similar to the RAV4 it looks. That looks just like a RAV4. Something I do like is the way, instead of there having it stamped, the Grand Highlander that's all color matching actually pops out, which is really cool. So instead of it being stamped in like a truck, it pops out. This unibrow here that a lot of manufacturers are doing, which you can see in black. I don't hate it, I don't love it. I see that a lot more common in the new vehicles. And just another note, at nighttime, you are gonna get this nice RAV4, but with a swish. So you're gonna have that wishbone look at nighttime, which is gonna be really nice. Under the hood is a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. This is the T24A FTS. It has 265 horsepower and 310 foot-pounds of torque. It is not a hybrid. For more power, you can go with the hybrid. And this is going to give you 5,000 pounds of tow capacity, mated to an 8-speed geared automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 27 on the highway, 21 in the city with a blend of 23. And looking at it, it looks rather small, but I haven't driven it down the road yet, and I can't because this is a sold unit. So I won't be able to give you my experience on the highway. But just looking at it, it is a very simple design and easy to work on. I'm sure a lot of people know what they're looking at and a lot of people don't. So for those that don't, my air filter is very easy to change. The battery is easy to get in and out. I can look at my brake fluid just by glancing at it. The bulbs are super easy to get to. I can literally touch them in 2 seconds. Very easy changing at home if I want to. And I can glance at a distance to see my coolant level. There's a very easy to get to dipstick. And something I appreciate about the Toyota is definitely its simple design. So yes, very easy to work on for basic stuff at home. And when you bring it to the dealer or your local mechanic, you'll have a lower cost of ownership because it'll take them less time to do a lot of those simple repairs for you or maintenance items. Like most Toyota SUVs, there's a little soft button underneath the emblem. It used to be just right of center, but now it's pretty much dead center. You give it a quick little push and the lightweight hatchback opens up pretty quick. The moment you've been waiting for, the cargo space on the Grand Highlander. We have 20 cubic feet with that third row up, and this third row is slightly reclined. So you can even increase your cargo space a little bit more, but you're just about 20 cubic feet here. If you're comparing this to a regular Highlander, that line for the cargo would have been about here. So that third row would have been here and you would have had just about this much, but you got lots of space. That's almost as long as my whole arm. Pretty decent height too. With that third row folded down, which is done by the simple, it's just a little sticky from the factory, but there's a little lever here. That headrest goes down. Now we unlocked just shy of 58 cubic feet. To fold down your second row, Toyota makes things very easy. We have lever number 1, lever number 2. Of course, this is just to slide the seat forward and back, but it doesn't take a lot of muscles. Literally with my thumb and my 2 fingers, I folded down my second row. And with both those rows folded down, we've unlocked 97.5 cubic feet of cargo space in the Grand Highlander. We have 2 ways to get in the back. We can use this lever here, which will fold and slide, or we can just use lever number 1. And with a little bit of elbow grease, that seat opens up a channel for us to get inside. And notice how there's no carpeting over here. We have all hard plastic, which is going to be super easy. A little bit of carpet back there, but we have all plastic, very easy to clean. I do have to duck a little bit, but I do notice right away, I don't have to duck quite as much as a Highlander. So let me get inside. So bear in mind, these seats are up all the way, which is very uncomfortable. So I'll recline this a little bit. And this seat on the bottom, which is also perforated, which is great, also changes a little bit when I recline. So as I recline this a little bit, that seat becomes much more comfortable on the bottom as well, which is nice. With it reclined, somebody who's between 5'5" and 6 foot could definitely be back here for longer than a regular Highlander. Bigger window in the back here, which is great. Cup holders, we have 3. Very easy to get to. And something I really appreciate, a USB plug in the perfect spot. So this almost acts as like a grip handle to get in, and they're dual purposing it as a USB plug. And let's see if Toyota knew what to do. Yes, they did. They did it on both sides for us. So we no longer have a favorite side. Everybody's happy on either side of the Grand Highlander. And take a look at that space with the third row reclined. Got a couple clips here for the seatbelt if you want them out of the way. The ventilation is right on the side, which I like. I personally don't like it up top. I like it on the side so I can hit myself diagonally with a simple LED light here in case I need to see anything. Let's go into that second row and enjoy more space. Here's what it looks like getting into the second row of the Grand Highlander. Nicely done Softex seats with the perforations, which definitely helps you not stick to them and improves the road noise. Sorry for the background noise, guys. I do like that they added some gray to the door as well. The channels are pretty deep. A couple small bottle holders or just a little shelf area for knickknacks, and nice big sunshade. Let me recline myself a little bit. Plenty of space. I don't feel like my head is sitting on the ceiling like I sometimes get in the Highlander. You can definitely feel that headroom in the Grand Highlander, which is the first thing I notice. And everybody watching, this is the first time I sat in the Grand Highlander. So these are all unbiased first thoughts, which is unique to this video. No rehearsing. I'm falling in love with gray interior over time, which has nothing to do with this. You can get that in any car. But I like how the buckles do not get lost like they do on some other cars. That's great. It's very easy to buckle the little ones in. Super simple. Oh, here we go. That's for the center. I would say the center seat is definitely for somebody really small. But I can feel the headroom, which is really nice, because in the Highlander, my shoulder is usually at least here. In the Grand Highlander, my shoulder's here. So I feel tucked in. I feel like I'm sitting down low. I'm definitely tucked in. Even if I bring the seat more upright, I definitely feel down low, tucked in and safe. I can see over the driver a little bit more. Their seat's not in my face as much. So that space translates to all three rows. Of course, we have the individual climate control for the rear, which can be controlled from the front as well. And Toyota's doing it right. A USB plug right here and a USB right there. Very easy to get to. Now let's jump into the Copilot seat and enjoy more space in the Grand Highlander. Here's what it's like getting into the Copilot seat of the 2024 Grand Highlander XLE. So some first thoughts before we jump in, because I love talking about the doors. We did get a slightly soft material, but I will admit not quite as soft as my 2021 Corolla XSE. I'll let it pass, but it could be a little softer. I'm assuming that'll be a little softer on the higher trims. Nice gray here. This is definitely a little more plush where the arm goes. No cup holders there like you get in the back, to be expected. And the space here a little bit smaller than the back door. Interesting. And we have a dark gray shiny plastic here. That's going to take to the scratches very nicely because it's not shiny, it's flat. But one of my favorite things is I really like the way they're doing these sill inserts. And let's see, does it light up? Yes, that's a light up Grand Highlander door sill, which is really cool. Of course, we have the badging on the floor mat. Loving the perforation. So we're getting perforation even though the seats are not cooled, which is great because, like I mentioned, this prevents you from sticking and it helps noise reduction, which is awesome. However, if you spill stuff, it will go down into the cushion, and if you're dirty and you get them crumbs, they are going down in there, never to return. So keep that in mind. But they're definitely nice. So you have a little bit higher maintenance keeping your interior clean in this car. And another quick comment, I can feel the size. So I feel like I'm a little lower in it. Electronic seat for the passenger. Toyota's new software system, which we will talk about in the tutorial. The USBs are in your face. So we have two in the third row. We got 2 in the second row. And then we got 2 up here for a total of 6. Let's take a look inside the center console, which is an interesting insert. It doesn't flip open or slide like this. This doesn't open at all. These are soft, but let's check for more. I'm just seeing this little guy. 12 volt. So we have 6 USBs and a 12 volt. Not bad at all. Space. Almost elbow deep. So it's definitely deep storage. There's a sliding shelf that's available too you can have on there, and that can go in and out. Very easy to see and navigate here on the control panel for drive modes. I like this shelf we have here. So thinking about the Highlander, because that's what I keep thinking about. We had a shelf here and a shelf up here. That's not in this, but we have a shelf over here. Because remember, this is a class of its own. It is a hard plastic, so things will slide around a lot. Toyota, a little bit of a rubberized finish here would have been great, but not a big deal. And actually, no, I was wrong. 7. We have 7 USBs. So this is awesome. We got 1, 2, 3 up front, 2 in the back, 2 in the back. There are USBs everywhere. Get some of that nice ice cold air conditioner on me. Another thing, for the people who hate piano black, we don't have piano black anywhere besides right over here and around the bezeling of the climate and the screen. So we don't have any piano black over here. We don't have any piano black on the doors. So for those that hate fingerprints, you don't have to worry about that in the Grand Highlander. And the design is nicely, it opens up, follows the vent, swishes down towards the shelf, and it brings us to the main fun area where the CarPlay and the Android Auto will be, which of course is wireless. Another thing I noticed right away, and that's before I even bring my seat up, is it's very easy to see over the dash. And it's a little easier than normal, which is interesting. You would think in a bigger vehicle that dash would be higher. This dash is nice and low. So I'm kind of getting some Honda vibes there, because Honda's famous for having those low dashes. And it's like a stadium here, which is kind of cool. They're really cutting out space, and it's really given me that feeling of just openness, which is, it's interesting because it's hitting me. Yeah, so it's definitely comfortable as a passenger. I can see all around me, and I don't feel like I'm trapped. You know, some big 3 rows, that dash is big, there's a lot going on. This actually starts here and it goes out, so I don't feel like I'm being attacked by my dashboard. Weird observations, I know. Glove box, something that I like is it's illuminated, which is great, but this switch is interesting. So I'm used to this. It's this way, which I understand is oriented towards the driver, but it's just weird because drivers do often jump into the passenger side to get inside the glove box, and I have to awkwardly do this as a passenger or even somebody who owns the car coming in through that side. Weird. I don't really think they needed to do it, but no big deal. But it is nice to see the lock. And can't forget, we have some more storage on the side over here. It's not a true bridge console, but I can throw in a clutch, I can throw in a stuffed animal, a wallet, some food, whatever. It's pretty deep. I can get halfway down my forearm, which is nice. On the other side, I don't have that. I'm sure there are going to be people that wish they had it on the other side. I'm not sure why they didn't do that, but at least as a passenger, it's nice to see that additional storage down below. But with all that being said, let's jump into the most important seat, the driver's seat of the Grand Highlander. Here's what it looks like getting into the driver's seat of the 2024 Grand Highlander XLE. So we have a battle here. We have things that we wish we might have had versus it's nice to keep that number on the car down. But another thing I wish I had as a Grand Highlander XLE person is a courtesy light here. So this is just a reflector. But I don't think it would have been too much to ask to have a white light here that shines so I can see where I'm stepping. You know, Camrys and Accords from the early 2000s came with these. So Toyota, pop those in there, get me a bulb. Storage is the same as the passenger side, not quite as big as the rear. The buttons have changed. The window buttons are very small. They have these nice little brushed silver finishings on the edges, which is definitely a nice touch. And like I mentioned in a lot of my Toyota videos, you can feel that quality when you touch a Toyota button compared to the competition. Everything just clicks. It doesn't jiggle around. It's a good experience. You can feel it. The door handles feel solid. I like how they're not chrome. They're not shooting sunlight in your face. And that's just the door. No seat memory, which I'm not mad about. That'll come in the higher trims. Electronic seat with a two-way lumbar, not four-way. Fine, to be expected. Power locking for the fuel door. Simple, easy to read dash. Very Toyota-ish. Yes, that's a vocabulary word that I made up. Very Toyota-ish. Let me show you the startup real quick. So it didn't give me a fancy little Grand Highlander thing, which kind of let me down, but it's not a big deal. Are we spoiled these days with all the fancy little dances that the cars do? And I know Toyota doesn't do this, but some of the cars even do a light show when you start them up. I like the 4Runner because you feel like you're going into outer space when you start and you look at the screen, and the Camry has the Camry. Would have been cool to see a Grand Highlander graphic that really welcomed you to this exciting new model, but they cut that. The shifter is great. This is nothing new. That shifter just fits the hand. You have to feel the shifter to understand. I'm so glad Toyota didn't go with buttons. On your hybrids and your hybrid maxes, you're going to see a different shifter. It's going to be the Prius style shifter, which I wanted to hate, but I love. But this I still really enjoy a lot. It's just simple. Forward, back. You cannot beat a shifter. You can't beat that because of one reason. I can look at the road and I can not have to look down at my shifter, and I just know by feel where I am. And in case I second guess myself, I can look at the screen, see? It'll tell me. But with buttons, I have to look down and aim what I'm doing, which to me just is silly. The steering wheel looks like it was pulled right out of a Highlander, to be honest, and I'm not mad about it. You know, how many things are you gonna ask and how much differentiation do you need before you're going crazy? One thing I really like, which is a small detail, is that Toyota symbol here. They went with a flat, almost brushed or sandblasted finish. And I like that so much for two reasons, because on most Toyotas, that emblem is gonna shoot sunlight into your face and it's a scratch magnet. But this is just gonna look so nice for many years. Good move. And that's similar to the style on the shifter here. So we have that sandblasted, you know, brushed look, which matches here. A little bit shinier around here, but I love how we're getting rid of all the shiny chrome that some of the American manufacturers have and older Toyotas had. And you're not getting light sparkling in your face, distracting you when you're driving. So really nice touch here. Definitely a rugged look too, in a way. The climate control, all flat black, no shiny black. No rubberized finishing here on the climate button, but we have like a diamond design almost, which is slightly rubbery, so we still get that tactile feel. And this doesn't jiggle around like I see in the competition. Everything is very solid, which is really nice. The heated seat button is great, simple, easy. It's easy to find everything. I like how the climate is high up, so I don't have to look down to do my climate control. And I also really appreciate, Toyota, how you kept your climate control tactile. It's manual. We're not using a giant tablet to operate our climate. Give me a shout out in the comments if you hate climate control systems that are operated through the screen. And I will admit, even on the Avalons, you would have a touchpad here, which was so annoying because you had to aim. Here I can just feel for it. I know where things are, and I'm not accidentally hitting things like on a touchscreen. And, you know, for my technicians and mechanics, they're right when they say, what about when that goes black or messes up down the line? You know, screens do sometimes fail. And if the climate control isn't there, what are you gonna do? Nothing. So it's nice to have my own individual climate, and it's very easy to use. Simple buttons and levers. Very simple. And for our MID screen here, it's a digital readout. It looks sporty. We have different menus. I will say the menu icons are a little small. And, you know, I've been with Toyota for years. I know my clientele. Some of them are going to have a really hard time seeing those symbols on the side here and what they mean. They should have made that bigger. But what are you going to do? But it's still the traditional Toyota menus. No fancy graphics. Pretty easy to operate. You can see different stuff. You can change settings. See your economy. You also have the digital speed on the top. Outside temp. Clock. Simple. Of course, standard is the digital rear view mirror with home link. And we have a little shiny black up top here, no big deal, with our SOS system, which doesn't have the window guard anymore that used to block you. It's just open and ready to go. Safety Connect comes with the car for 10 years or until the 4G network ceases to exist. So that's a recovery system, which is complimentary and has a stolen vehicle locator. So that's great, one less thing to worry about. Something funny that Toyota does is we get the LED lights all around, but for the mirror, we get the candlelight. And I don't hate that because the yellow here is a little easier on the eyes. And then this is nice and bright white, but it's just funny to see the variation in lighting. That pretty much wraps it up for the interior. These cup holders are big, and this doesn't, it looks like it moves, but it doesn't. So we have the two large cup holders over here. We have a giant Stanley holder, Yeti holder, a liter of something can go in there. Wireless charger with a very, very, very small lip. That lip could have been a little bit bigger, but I'm nitpicking, guys. This is the first time I sat in one. I feel like if you hit a turn enough, that phone will go over the lip. But it'll probably work. And then we have more storage over here on the side. No hidden chargers. So Toyota's moving away from the hidden chargers underneath here in the caves. And charging has come out of the caves, which is nice. So we no longer have to go into the cave to find our charging and accidentally break something. We can see where everything is. And since we're universal, you can't really break these anymore. So let me know what you think. We're going to take this for a quick spin around the lot. This is a sold unit, so I cannot take it down the street, which bums me out, guys. I know. But let's take it around the lot real quick and talk about my first impression of the Grand Highlander in comparison to some of the other Toyotas and competition. Another quick interesting observation. This seat comes up fast. So thank you, Toyota, because some of those power seats, they go so slow. That seat goes up and down really quick, and it moves forward and back pretty quick compared to what it used to be. Awesome. Let's see what my first impressions are of the Grand Highlander. So I can feel the length in the back already. It feels a little bit closer to a Sienna. It's easy to steer. The visibility is very nice. I can see everything. But yes, it definitely feels a little bit longer than a Highlander. I can't comment much about the power while driving it on the road. I am sorry, guys. I have to work with what I got, but this one is sold. It's very easy to drive. Turns very nicely. And the windshield is nice and big. I can see through that big windshield in the back. But it doesn't feel fat like a Sienna. So it feels long like a Sienna, but it doesn't feel as fat. I don't feel like the belly is down low like in a Sienna. I definitely feel like I am tucked up a little bit more, which is what this is. Let's check out the backup camera real quick. Oh, that's good. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit wider on the higher trims, no big deal. But yeah, it's nice. So let's wrap up our concluding thoughts. So there you have it, folks. We looked at the exterior of the Grand Highlander. We popped the hood, checked out the cargo space, and went inside talking about the space that it offers for passengers. I think for a couple thousand more, it definitely gives you room that's worth it. And it's going to stay true to its design. It's going to be a simple car that's easy to work on, low cost of ownership, and it's never going to let you down. Don't be afraid of the turbo. Toyota, Lexus, they've done turbo for a while, on and off. It's going to be a very reliable car for you. And let me know what you think based on what you saw in today's video in the comments down below. If you liked this, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing for more Toyota content. I promise it'll be worth it as I give you my as unbiased as possible view as a Toyota member. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.